Hey everybody, this is Miss C with Victoria West Art, and yeah, so we're going to be doing some Prismacolor blending today. So this should be going into your sketchbook, into the next free page, and what we're going to be talking about today is how to get this kind of effect with things that are not paint. So you see that it's very smooth, very clean, a nice transition of color. We're going to talk about how to get that. All right, so on your next clean page, we're going to do this practice. So for Prismacolor pencils, they are basically a colored pencil. The outside color indicates what color they are. They're pretty accurate for the most part. They have their name over here as well as a number. If the numbers match, then it's the correct color pencil. Like even if it's like a name that you don't understand, for example, maybe it's been sharpened so that you only see the French version of the name, you still know it's the right blue because it matches all the other colors that you need. All right. So anyway, so you have this Prismacolor pencil. We're going to talk about a couple different techniques. If you remember, techniques are the methods that you utilize to manipulate your art materials. So in this particular case, we're going to start with something called layering. We're going to talk about blending. And we're going to talk about burnishing. And all of that is going to help us make this nice smooth transition. So I don't need this to be very big. I might use the rest of this page for something else. We're going to just do our little demo right in this little square right here. So first things first, I need two colors. I have picked these two. In general, you want to pick two colors that are nearby each other on the color wheel because those will blend together more nicely. And two colors that are further apart are not going to blend nicely at all. So first things first, you'll notice that I am working with fairly sharp pencils that will make your life much easier. If you get to the point where you have no color at the end and you're right down here at the wood, you're going to scratch through all your color and it's just going to undo all of your hard work. So don't worry about that. Now to make a nice blend of color, I'm going to start by layering. So you see that I went over my pencils once and then I'm going to start doing another layer of my same color, and I'm doing a nice fade out to get a good blend. So I'm to blend these two colors, I need to fade out from one direction to another. So I'm starting with my blue. You really can start either way. Generally, it's more advised to start with your lighter color, but blue was in my hand, so that's what I'm using, which makes my life more difficult, but hey, you get to watch me struggle now. So I've just added several layers, about 4 or 5 layers of blue right here. This is all just blue layer. I'm going to add a little bit more right over here just to make it a nice smooth transition. So I have pure blue over here and pure white over here. This white is now going to be replaced with yellow. So again, I'm going to continue with the blending technique of going in opposite directions with the nice fade. That is just controlled by pressure. And I'm going to continue my layering on this end with my yellow. I can press a little bit harder with yellow because yellow is much weaker. Most light colors are, so yellow and white in particular are going to be weaker compared to any of the other colors that you might be layering on top of them or above them. And you can see that I've just added a second layer and I'm going to go ahead and add in a third. I know that I have sufficient layers when there are no more spots of white. So look for less white. Blending is overlapping colors. We're also going to do a blend with a different technique in a minute. Now, burnishing. Burnishing is whenever you take your colored pencil and you press it very, very hard into the paper. Your paper has a texture to it. It's called tooth. And as long as that texture exists, your paper will grab on to more color. But eventually, you can't add any more because you've smashed all that down. That's what burnishing is. I'm going to do burnishing for half of this, and I'm going to do my other blending technique for the other half. So right now, I just used very light pressure to semi-heavy pressure to get all of this. I am never pressing very hard. These are not that tough. They will break. So I'm going to use a colorless blender, and I'm going to burnish to smooth out about the top half of this. So whenever I'm burnishing, I'm gonna start on my lighter side. Also, I'm gonna double check actually, do I have any color gunk on the end of this? There's no color gunk. If there were, scratching it on some spare paper would get that cleaned off, but there isn't any, so we're gonna come over here. And whenever I start pressing, I'm gonna press with fairly firm pressure in nice circular motions. And as I travel along, all the little white spaces that I had left in my color are going to go away. You can see right here how there's a division where I've taken away all those white spots and blended. They've kind of smeared together because of the wax in my colored pencil, versus over here where they have not been smeared together. That's what burnishing will do, is it will smear together the last of your color. All right, now that's one way to blend, is by burnishing. So burnish with a colorless blender. Or if you don't have one, your lightest color. Now, the other technique that I have for blending involves isopropyl alcohol. This stuff does not smell very good. You want to be very careful with it because you don't want it getting in your eyes. Usually we'll have little cups or something that you can keep it in, or little taco sauce cups. In this case, since I don't need very much, I'm just going to use the lid. I'm going to pour just a little bit out. I don't need very much. I'm only barely covering the bottom. And I'm going to need a Q-tip. You could also use a very clean, soft paintbrush for this, but Q-tips work best in my opinion. I'm just going to tap that very little bit against the into the liquid. I'm going to wipe a little bit of the excess off on my hand. It does not hurt your skin at all. This is what is in hand sanitizer, so it will sanitize you. And it does evaporate very quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start in the light area, and I'm going to move along with circular motions towards my darker area. Oop. What it does is it breaks down some of the binding agents inside the colored pencil. And when it breaks it down, it makes it easy to smear, almost like paint. I got a little bit too much green over there, so I removed a little bit of it on a fresh, clean end with just a little bit more rubbing alcohol. You can see that I do now have a green end. So if I tried to move this back up like I did a minute ago, I'm just going to smear some of that green into this yellow. That's why I was able to take some of it off with the green. But you want to move from light areas to dark every single time. If you have a very dark area, that doesn't matter if it mixes too much, you can continue going back and forth, but generally just move light to dark, and that will end up mixing it. So blending can also be done beep, 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 with rubbing alcohol. Beautiful. All right, so I want you to copy this if you are in class with us. If you are not in class with us, then, I mean, you could choose to. I won't stop you, but the kids that are in here are gonna get a grade for this. All right, now for the rest of my rubbing alcohol, just so you are aware, what is still in here is still usable. I do not want to throw this away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it back into my lid. If it spills a little bit, again, it's just the same stuff that's in hand sanitizer. It won't hurt you, but it will sting if it gets on a hangnail or a cut, so be careful with that. Beyond that, I'm going to dry that off a little bit, and that will get put back away where it belongs. All right, that's everything. Bye.